the other piece, and I want, and this may be some pieces, Kristen, that we want to add to the Padlet as we think about it. So I pushed out that quick little video to you about the learning progressions. Did y'all have a chance? Not a chance to watch it? I get it if it's this way. Okay. Mindy's like, it's all right, Mindy. We've been busy. But check it out. But the thing that I want to pick your brain about is, well, first of all, for Kristen and Ashley, what about the video did you immediately think this is impossible? Did you have anything like that you're like, this is a great idea, but this is impossible?
I was, I'm typing something in chat. Sorry.
Okay, good.
One thing, so Arkansas has a website for English language arts for learning progressions, and you can pick your state and like see the mapping and all that. So I had bookmarked it because I thought, we can go back and like dive in.
Right.
I thought that, as a school, we could maybe take one subject and pilot it. And instead of going, okay, we're going to do this for, is there one for math? Okay. Instead of doing it for all, all across, say, okay, this is going to be our focus. We're going to try this and see how it works and see, is there any difference,
right,
with this versus something else. But what I kept getting hung up on is it seems like there was a lot of teacher-student time, feedback, conferencing, and I thought that is going to be the trick. For me, for elementary, that's going to be the trick, is having them meet with 60 or 70 students in their homeroom and give feedback and talk about this is the path and this is the goal and how are we going to get there. So that was my biggest hurdle when I first, started thinking.
Yeah, and I agree with that. Go ahead, Ashley.
Students, because they teach a subject, so it's not their home. It wouldn't be their homeroom kids. It wouldn't make sense to do it for homeroom kids. It would have to be for your math and ELA kids.
Right. And I think that that's probably the biggest hurdle I noticed. So the thing I loved, let me tell you what I loved about it and the reason that you got it, and then y'all can tell me what sort of stuck out in your mind. I really think, and sort of feeling like it really pulls into our 3 R's, our rigor, relevance, and relationships. I really feel like it pulls into the relevance. When we can show a student, where they've been, what pieces of learning were super important to sort of that final inline, and what they mastered and what they didn't. And in my mind, I see, and of course, Kristen, I think middle school and high school, right? So I'm thinking D2L platforms, so I know it's different for our elementary. But in my mind, I'm thinking, how would our course setup look different if we could provide a student with a progression map, and we left that course basically open with, a quiz or a unit exam as a checkpoint, and they could almost, in a way, have the freedom to go back and sort of revisit concepts that they didn't master. Now, first of all, as a high school teacher, I think, yeah, they're not going to be doing that business. They're just trying to get done. But I think the thing is, and this is what I really want to hear your ideas about as you watch the video, I think the thing is a mind shift. And, Kristen and Ashley, when I sent you those habits of mind, and Mindy, remind me to send this video to you about John Hattie and how, visible learning requires sort of a different thinking pattern on the parts of teachers and on the parts of students. And so what we're talking about here, I think what I want to avoid is just another piece of paper that monitors what students are doing. I think the key is the mind shift for teachers and for students in what their learning means and what learning looks like how they know they've mastered something and feeling like that's important. So that's a big hurdle, especially in our world, I think, because virtual tends to lend itself to checking that box and doing the next assignment, right? So, Kristen, you talked about the website and kind of chunking it out in small pieces. What do you guys think? Talk to me a little bit about what you think teacher reaction will be, family reaction will be, and if this is something that we want to get on the table for admin retreat to think about starting, sort of maybe a pilot with the progressions. What do our first steps need to be? What do y'all think? It was 3 questions at once. I know. It's like a triple whammy before 9 o'clock. What in the world?
I think that the biggest hurdle is the first big hurdle is going to be teacher buy-in.
Mm-hmm.
I really think that families at the middle and high school that have been here for a while are more used to that sort of idea, even though it wasn't played out that way. But in elementary, when you do it mastery-based or progress-based, that's more the same sort of topic. So I don't know that if the teachers were all in and bought in, then you would have, I think that other piece would come. What about thinking about piloting it with a select group of teachers? I mean, if we wanted to do a comparison thing.
Mm-hmm.
So what if we tried to pilot with certain teachers that were on board, and just, and we're able to do that comparison?
I like that idea because it's like a control group. I mean, we could monitor, the growth of students with that control group compared to students that didn't have those learning progressions. So, I mean, I think from a data point, that's really strong. And I think, go ahead, Kristen.
We could also, and I know flex is up in the air,
mm-hmm.
but because those, as far as what that's going to look like next year for us and how that's all going to work out. But, we're talking about teachers monitoring students, at different levels.
Mm-hmm.
The frequency is different. K2 is going to look different than a 7th grader.
Right.
But I wonder, too, if, maybe we focus on stride students
mm-hmm.
and use that progression as that's their conference. Where are
right.
they in their learning? Where has, and use that, how are they progressing through the course? And, with stride, sorry, I saw your message.
Subliminal.
With flex, there are only a certain group of teachers, and next
mm-hmm.
year there may even be a smaller select.
Right.
So we could indeed do kind of what Ashley said.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of strength in that idea, and